Welcome to the Encore Audio Archives YouTube channel. I'm Taper Dave, and this is my channel. I've uploaded hundreds of talks here that I've recorded at meetings in West LA, and I've also recorded conventions starting in 2013. I've got a bunch of those up. And Walt and Mary Murray, the original owners of Encore Audio Archives, started the company in the 80s, and Walt recorded Joe and Charlie's and a bunch of stuff down in Vista, California. My sobriety date is June 20th of 1994. I hope you find something you like, so please like and subscribe to my channel and comment down below. If you want to hear something that I don't have or that you don't see, I'll see that I get it. Anyways, take care and have a great day if you want to.
That is close. Sorry. Hi. That scared me. I'm Jack Grisham, and I'm an alcoholic.
Hi, Jack.
I want to thank you guys for having me, and I love the reading. And welcome to the Al-Anon people. I got to practice a whole bunch of Al-Anon-y stuff these last 10 days. I was on a business trip in South America. I just got home, so I'm like 4 hours ahead still, because I just got home yesterday. And I was traveling with 5 sober alcoholics, and I was the only one that goes to meetings for the last 20 years. So it was very interesting. And it's like, it reminds me of the story. I get to travel a lot, and we were talking about traveling and visiting different meetings, and the book talks about it. Bill used to be stoked if there was 2 or 3 of us somewhere. He's like, oh, there's 2 of us way over here, and he was excited about that. And going to these meetings, I wandered in this meeting. I was in Charlotte, North Carolina, I think, and it was a meeting that had been there a long time, and it was the same guys, and they were always there, and this guy told a story, and it was about a bear in a cage behind a gas station. And I don't know if any of you ever used to travel or drive around a lot, and they used to have animals in cages, and the signs would start popping up like 300 miles before you got there, like, see the beast, see this, and then you'd roll up and it was a bear or a lion. I mean, they don't do it anymore because people are against that, but they used to do it. And so he was telling this story. He said there was this bear in this cage by this gas station, and some people came and freed the bear, and the bear was in a small cage. It could go 3 feet up and 5 feet over, 3 feet up and 5 feet over. That's all it could do in this little cage. And these people came and rescued this bear, and they dumped it off in the woods. And when the bear got out of the cage, he went 3 feet up and 5 feet over, and 3 feet up and 5 feet over, because that was all he knew. And it really reminds me of alcoholism, because I see a lot of people that are sober, they go 3 feet up and 5 feet over, and that's all they do. And they may be let out of that cage of alcoholism, might be off of them, but they're still in prison. And you see it a lot. And one of the guys that I was on this trip with is still in prison. And he finally asked me, he says, hey, do you have a problem with me? And I said, no, let's just drop it. And he said, no, come on, I want to know. I go, no, you don't. Come on, go get a soft drink. Leave me alone, you know? He goes, no, I want to know. I go, well, you keep acting like a convict and you're 18 years sober. So that's my problem with you. You keep acting like you're entitled. You're taking pride in what you used to do to people. You act like that. You wear that as like a badge. And I got a problem with it. And he had a problem with me saying I had a problem with it. But anyway, so I'm really working on my Al-Anon stuff, man. I'm trying. I promise you guys I'm trying. And, it's like, behave how you're supposed to behave, and don't worry how they behave, but you just keep being nice anyway, And that's a tough one, man. It's way easy just to not drink. You know what I'm saying? That's way easier. Oh, I'm just not drinking today. That's easier. And but the other stuff gets way more difficult. And anyway, and I really like the quotes reading from the book. I'm a book guy, and I know that scares people sometimes. Like the minute you say you're a book guy, some people get really frightened. And but I'll give you a little story how I got to be a book guy. I started getting into the program, like after I'd been sober for a while, really getting into the program and studying the book. And then, like a lot of us, I kind of went a little crazy studying the book. And then it was line by line, digging up history. Where'd Bill get this? Where'd Bill get that? Where'd this come from? I'm finding this. I'm reading definitions. I'm doing this. I'm tearing the book apart, and it's word for word. And then I'm going to meetings, and I'm judging you guys because you're not doing it right. And I'm sitting in the meeting and somebody would be sitting there and I go, ah, bullshit. Ah, he's full of it. He's full of it. You know, and there'd be new guys like sitting next to me, you know, and I'd be mumbling under my breath, oh, where'd he get that? Where'd he get that? You know, and it got so bad. One time some guy said something crazy in a meeting. I go, where'd you get that? He goes, I got it from my sponsor who got it from his sponsor. I go, well, then your grand sponsor's an idiot, champ. And so it got bad. And it got to it was Jack Grisham Party of One, actually, is what it came down to. And because I was so tearing that book apart, you know, and so rigid and so, you know, just nuts with it, right? Well, at the same time this is going on, I'm seeing a Jesuit brother because I want to talk to somebody about God. I don't know if you guys have ever had this problem. It's kind of hard to talk to people out there about God, how we talk about God in here. We talk about God like it's somebody we went to the market with that morning. You know what I'm saying? I mean, we're so most of us are so casual. Oh yeah, God and I are involved. God and I are doing, you know, go out there and try it, man. They get scared. And I would see guys like for me, I'm Christian based, so I'd see guys reading Bibles and I'd walk up and go, hey, we got the same dad, you know, and they'd like move away, you know, just, it's like, and then I'd start arguing with them about it. But anyway, So I'm tearing the big book apart. So at the same time I'm tearing the big book apart, I start going and seeing this Jesuit brother. And I'm not Catholic, or I have no affiliation. I just want to talk to somebody about God things. And I've talked to rabbis and ministers and clerics. I've talked to everybody. So I want to talk with this guy. So after tearing the big book apart, I start tearing the New Testament apart the same way. And I go to Brother Charlie one day. I go, Brother Charlie, I go, what's the best translation of that New Testament? What do I got to do? And I'm thinking he's going to tell me to go learn Aramaic or something, right? And I'm in, because I'm going to do it. And he looks at me and he goes, Jack, he goes, it is such a shame that you're that hung up on the words. I go, what? Because I was ready for him to throw scripture at me or something. And he goes, you know what, son? He goes, I don't want to hear another word of scripture coming out of your mouth. He goes, I want you to close that book and I want you to stop it. He goes, and what I want you to do is I want you to go down by the beach. And I want you to take a walk. But before you take a walk, what I want you to do is I want you to ask God to walk with you, and I want you to be quiet. And I want you to just listen. So that's what I did. I went down to the beach and I said, will you walk with me? And I started walking and doing these walks on the beach. And while I was walking and doing them, what I started to do is have a realization of what I had been doing. By tearing apart the big book of Alcoholics Anonymous, line by line, word by word, and definition, what I was basically trying to do was control the program of Alcoholics Anonymous. If I could pin you down to a word, a phrase, or a saying, then I controlled the program. And anyone that went against what I had learned was wrong. Then I looked at what I was trying to do with my God at the time, and what I realized was by trying to pin my God down to a word or a phrase, what I was also trying to do was control God. So what I did is, after stopping that, I went back and I looked at the big book again. And what I thought was so rigid had completely disappeared. We look at the third step in the big book, and I love the third step prayer in there, and I love it. And I love our third step prayer. It's a wonderful prayer. It's great. And a lot of times we get our new guys and we say, remember that prayer, learn that prayer, tear that, find out what you're saying. And it's great. And I love doing it. It's wonderful to do. But do you know what it says at the end of the third step prayer? It says the wording is optional. Optional. Do you know that some people's third step prayers are, F it, I can't take this anymore, I'll do anything you say? Do you know that that's a very valid third step prayer? I've probably seen more guys say that prayer and stick around than I've seen, seen our prayer and stick around. You know, seeing sometimes the guys that come in and say the third step prayer out of the book and they do it as sponsor said and they do all that blah, 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 and I see them doing it and it's great. But I've seen a lot of other guys come in here and they can't even read that book. They can't even read that book and they don't understand a damn thing, but they're willing to do whatever it takes to be here. And if they've got to grab a broom or a mop or clean cigarette ashtrays or do whatever they got to do, they're going to do it. And I see them do it. Then I look at the fourth step in the book and it's laid out, rigid lines and columns and blah, 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 blah. Do you know what Bill says before all the lines and columns? He says we were usually as definite as this example. Usually. Sometimes, we do it other ways. I was like, what? Right? And then you go back to the back of the book, and they got a guy going through a 4-step with Dr. Bob, and it's completely different than the 4-step that Bill did. You know what Dr. Bob's version of the 4-step was? You tell him your story, and then he'll tell you your character defects. Which is great. I mean, if you want to do a 4-step and be rigorous, honest, great. That's great. Get a pencil and paper and do a 4-step. Great 4-step. You want to do a real 4-step? Give pencil and paper to everyone that knows you. Wife, husband, family, and friends, and say, could you fill this out for me? Because believe me, you'll start seeing stuff you never saw before. Never saw. I remember when my brother, after I'd been sober for a little while, my brother-in-law stole his grandmother's car. And they come to me to ask what to do about it. And my mom says, what should we do about it? He's stolen Nanny's car. I go, I'll tell you what to do about it. Tough love, Mom, tough love. Don't give those alcoholics a break. You gotta come down hard. Call the police on him. And my mother looks at me and goes, I didn't call the police when you stole my car. Say, let him go. All right, anyway, so then we got a 4-step that says we were usually as definite, and then you get further on the book, and all of a sudden, it's all over the place. There's this, and maybe we do this, and maybe we say this, and sometimes we think this, and other times we're guided by this, and we're going to make this mistake, and we're going to do this. And then you look at the steps. Every single step has got the built-in failure inside of it. It's like a failure. We continued to take personal inventory, and when we were wrong. When we were wrong. They count on you to be wrong. If you're not being wrong, then you're not working a good program. You know what I'm saying? It's like, what is this? And then they say we seek to improve our conscious contact with God. Improves means it ain't good enough. And you thought it was good enough yesterday, but it's not good enough for today. So now we're improving again. And then they say we tried to carry this message, meaning you're going to fail. A whole bunch of times. You know, so it's so funny that book, it just disintegrated. It disintegrated, and in its disintegration, it actually became stronger for me. Each word in each line. And I started this meeting on Saturday nights where I interview old-timers. And it's kind of like a question and answer. I interview these guys, and I've had great people, you know, Patty O and Mickey Bush and Wayne Butler and, you know, Father Lee, all these guys, and I get them on this chair and I just drill them about, hey, what happened? What happened? How'd you do this? How'd you do this? How'd you do this? And you know what? Every single one of them has a different story. A different story. The way they woke up, the way they came to, the way they found God, the way they took an inventory. My sponsor's been sober almost 45 years, and the way he took his inventory, his sponsor got sober with Bill Wilson, those guys. My sponsor's been sober almost 45 years, and his sponsor died at 40 years sober. And how he took an interview, he was on a business trip one time. How he took a 4-step, he was on a business trip one time, and he walked into another hotel, and you know, he was being creepy even though he was sober, and he looked himself in the mirror and said, you are not who you say you are. And he ended up doing his 4-step like that, and then he went home and read it to a priest. So different for everybody. Anyway, I'll tell you how I got here. I was living at my mother's. And if it was up to my mother, I would still be living at my mother's house right now. Thankfully, you Al-Anon people never got one hand on my mom, man. And, you know, because, I mean, it was crazy. The blood of the lamb was spray painted on our front door, and the Al-Anons just drifted right by. They did, they never got up in there. I had the best drunks mom in the world. I'll match her against anybody. I would go to jail, and when I'd get out of jail, my mother would go, they're always picking on you, sweetheart. I would be passed out on the neighbor's lawn with my pants down, you know, anytime, day or night, just laying on the lawn. And if they had the stones to come over and complain, my mother would say, leave him alone, he's an artist. just out of control. And And she's still like that. She hasn't changed, not one bit, you know. So anyway, she does it with my kids now. It's crazy. my 13-year-old's on probation right now, and cutest little thing in the world, cutest little volleyball playing, freckled face, beautiful little 13-year-old girl who is on probation, and she comes to me one day, and this is just a quick about my mother. It's a quick story. She comes to me one day and she goes, "Pops, that's what they call me. She goes, "Pops, I toilet paper the house." I go, "Oh, well, thanks for telling me. Good, go play." She goes, "Well, you know, okay." I go, "Great, good." She's being honest. I go, "Why'd you do it?" She goes, "The lady was against solar power, so we did her house." I go, "Oh, great, okay, good. Go play, don't do it again, go play." That's all I say. I get a call from my ex-wife about 4 hours later, and she goes, "You gotta go to parenting class." I go, "For what?" She goes, "For your daughter, she's on probation, and she's gotta do community service." I go, "For what? Toilet papering? You got to be kidding me." So they send me to parenting class, and I'm sitting there, and I'm angry, right? So I make an appointment to talk to the detective, because I'm a taxpayer, right? And I'm not, really, but I do file. Anyway, and I go and sit down to this detective, and I got my little daughter sitting next to me. I go, "Hey, what's going on here, man?" I go, "What's up? You guys got nothing to do, baby girl? You're going to have to hassle baby girl? You got nothing to do on a Friday night than hassle this little girl about this? Toilet paper it. Really?" The guy looks at me and goes, "What do you know about the case?" I go, "The case? What do you mean the case?" He goes, "That's what I thought." And she pulls out this folder, and all of a sudden I see my daughter start looking away. Like, what? And he pulls out this folder, and he flips it around, and he opens it up. And on the very first page, in magic marker on the side of a wall, is a very poorly drawn penis on the side of this house. And it says, "Suck whatever" on the side of it. And the only reason my daughter didn't get a spanking is it was a poorly drawn penis. It looked like a beach ball with a triangle on top of it. You know what I mean? It's like, so I can tell she hasn't actually seen one yet. So anyway. So immediately I thanked the officer for doing a good job. But I told my mother this story, and my mom goes, "So what? A couple of kids playing with magic markers. She's an artist." I go, "No, man." So anyway, it hasn't stopped. But that's what's going on. So I'm living at my mother's house, and there is full craziness going on at my mother's house. And here's how I got to you guys, right? I'm 26 years old, living with my mother. Here's how I got to you. A friend of mine got arrested on a cocaine trafficking charge, and he goes to court. Now, I believe that more alcoholics are created in court than anywhere else in the world, right? It's not the local bar, it's not the first drink, it's court, man, it's court. Because hundreds of thousands of us go into court every day, non-alcoholic. And we get in front of the judge. Judge says, "Mr. Smith, you got a year sentence. But if you're an alcoholic, you could do a 90-day treatment program." I'm an alcoholic, Your Honor. Yeah. All of a sudden, everybody is now, right? Not so. Not so. If you're brand new and you're just coming into AA, I'm going to be your friend and I'm going to help you out right now. If you're saying stuff just to get us to like you, stop right now, because we know you're not telling the truth. We know you're not telling the truth. And you can say whatever you want to us anyway, and it doesn't matter. Because love and tolerance is our code, so we got to love you. I mean, you can walk into our meeting, stand up, flip us all off, tell us to go to hell, and we'll go, "Keep coming back." Yeah. Yeah. So you might as well give it here right now, because you know what? No matter what you say in an AA meeting, do you know that someone will disagree with you? Are you aware of that? I mean, you can stand up in a meeting and say, "The ocean's wet," and somebody else would stand up and go, "Not along the edge, it's not. No, sir, it is not." So you might as well just start giving it out real right now. So, because I said that at this convention, that joke about more alcoholics being created in court, and this dude actually walks up to me afterwards, and he's huge, and I'm 6'4", right, 280, and I'm lying about the 280, but he's huge, right? And he walks up to me and goes, "Can I talk to you, man?" I go, "Yeah, what's up?" And he's just got bad tattoos all over him. He goes, "I did the year, dog." Well, then you're a stupid alcoholic. It's It's like, hey, man, if you don't got enough sense to cop a plea to stay out of jail, you better get up in here and start working some steps, my man, because you're going to die out there. Anyway, so that's what my buddy did. All of a sudden, he goes to jail, and he's got an alcohol problem. I'm like, what are you talking about? I was just getting loaded with this guy 2 weeks ago, and he didn't have a problem. You know what I mean? There was no problem mentioned. It wasn't like, hey, Jack, I think I got a problem. Why don't you clean up that last line of blow for us? I'm going to sit out on this one. It's like, no. It was, are you cutting that even, dude? There was no problem mentioned. But now that he goes to court, and he's scared, now he's got a problem. Because Long Beach means LA County. And he's about a 5'4" little curly blonde-haired surfer boy with freckles. And he's not going to do so well up in LA County jail. So yes, he does have a problem. They send him to treatment. And you H&I guys, whatever the hell you're doing up in there, you go running up in there and start pumping him all full of the spirit or whatever's going on. And you get him all pumped full of the spirit, get him all cleaned up, and you cut him loose, and he comes back to Long Beach with this crazy walking hand in hand with Bill, Bob, and Jesus thing, or whatever's going on. And he's going to save the neighborhood. A reformer is what he is. The big book says we're not supposed to start out as reformers, but that's what he did, and he's going to save the neighborhood. And I tell you, I found something funny in the big book a while back, and if you don't mind, I'll share it with you. Don't get scared, because I'm grabbing the book. But I don't know if a lot of you know, like, sometimes we think when we look at, like, the history of Alcoholics Anonymous, like, we think, oh, these wonderful saints. These men, they're saintly. They were scam artists, man.
Sorry to interrupt your viewing. Taper Dave here. Just wanted to take a second to ask you to like and subscribe to my channel. Let me know if you like what you're listening. I've got some very good talks here, and this one's a great one. Just curious, do you think this is better than Zoom? Tell me what you think.
They're alcoholics, scam artists. How can we make money? Everything's crazy. I mean, listen to these tapes of these guys. They're going, yeah, we didn't know what was going on. You know, they're out of control, right? And so I'm going through the book one time, and I'm thinking, okay, Bill Wilson, salesman, hustler, whatever. And then I found in the book, I found the sales pitch of Alcoholics Anonymous. Like I was looking through the book, I go, oh my God, there it is right there. Have you ever watched late night TV and then they give a sales pitch for like land or Viagra or whatever it is, like, and they talk it all nice about it? Well, here's the sales pitch for Alcoholics Anonymous. I'm gonna give it to you. Life will take on new meaning. To watch people recover, to see them help others, to watch loneliness vanish, to see a fellowship grow up about you, to have a host of friends. This is an experience you must not miss. We know you will not want to miss it. Frequent contact with newcomers and with each other is the bright spot of our lives. Right? Okay, that's rough, right? Like, that's infomercial central. Okay, but then I'm thinking, okay, there's the pitch. And then I think, oh, hustlers. They're hustlers. So where's the small print? Small print's got to be in there somewhere. So I start going through, you know, the end of the commercial where they start talking real fast. And I thought, oh my God, I just found the small print. Here it is. It may mean sharing your money in your home, counseling frantic wives and relatives, innumerable trips to police courts, sanitariums, hospitals, jails, and asylums. Your telephone may jangle at any time of the day or night. Your wife may sometimes say she is neglected. A drunk may smash the furniture in your home or burn a mattress. You may have to fight with him if he is violent. Sometimes you'll have to call a doctor and administer sedatives under his direction. Another time you may have to send for the police or an ambulance. So anyway, I love that in there. So anyway, so I always tell new guys, I say, yeah, when your sponsor says read the book, go, yeah, give me the book, I'll read it. So there's all sorts of that crap in there. Anyway, but so they're hustlers, right? All right, so go just ADD swing with me for a second. So here's my buddy. He just gets out of jail. He didn't have a problem. Now he's got a drinking problem, and now he's healed from his drinking problem, and now he wants to save the neighborhood. Like all those guys, you know those guys, the reformers, they all of a sudden they get excited. You know what I mean? They've quit drinking, so now you need to quit drinking. They found God, you need to find God. They're selling Amway, you need to sell Amway. Whatever it is. Or what's the new one now, the face thing, Nutra something, whatever it is. Anyway, they're all like that. So that's what my buddy does. He comes back to Long Beach and he's going to save the neighborhood. And where's his first stop? My mother's house. Stop number 1. And I get this. I go, what's up, bro? He goes, you got a problem, man. I go, what? He goes, you've got a problem. You're an alcoholic. I go, no. I live with my mom. So let me tell you what was going on at mommy's house at the time. I had warrants out for my arrest. So what? I always have warrants out for my arrest. That's how you pay tickets. Yeah, and for the people that laughed at that, that is sad. That's really sad. Because you tell that to a normie and they just sit there twitching. They don't get it, right? But I tell it to an alcoholic, they totally understand. It's like, why go down to court for one? Get a couple, man. You know, it's like, they'll drive you down. That long line in court, you don't got to stand in that line. They bring you right up to the front. VIP box, they bring you. And you know how long it takes when you're handling tickets? Go with them, man. They throw in a bologna sandwich and an apple. So it's like, you know, I always had warrants. It's like I would get pulled over and I just drop the keys out the window and laugh, you know, and the cop would walk up the car and go, hey, what's going on? I go, run me. You're going to anyway. So anyway, so I got warrants out for my arrest. Big deal, big deal. I also have people trying to kill me, both real and imagined. I got both types. I got a girl pregnant. I said, move in. Let's have a baby. Move into my mom's house with me. Let's roll. 26 years old, mental capabilities of a 12-year-old, and I'm going to be a dad. And at the same time I move her in, I fall in love with a girl of questionable age, and I take her to Mexico and marry her. Yeah, that's when the laughter stops. That's what's going on at mommy's house. And this guy's telling me I'm an alcoholic. He goes, you're an alcoholic. I go, no. And I get him away from the front door. I don't want my mother hearing that kind of talk outside, right? So he goes, you're an alcoholic. I go, no. He goes, come to a meeting with me. I go, a meeting? A meeting of what? He goes, 12-step meeting, come to me. I go, no, dude, you go. I saw you get popped. You go to the meeting. He goes, come to a meeting. I go, no. Come to a meeting. No. Come to a meeting. No. Come to a meeting. Nope. Come to a meeting. No. Come to the meeting. No. Come on, come to the meeting. No. Come to the meeting. Okay, I'll go. Now, do you know why I said, okay, I'll go? Because I'm an alcoholic. And I'll say anything to get you to leave me alone, including I'm Jack Grisham and I'm an alcoholic. I got a problem with Alcoholics Anonymous. I got a bunch of problems with Alcoholics Anonymous, right? And I'm still not drunk. So anyway, and I don't have problems with our steps, and I don't have problems with the traditions, and I don't have problems with the concepts. I got problems with us. We're the problem in Alcoholics Anonymous. Believe me, and Bill knew we were the problem also. Why do you think we got those traditions? Because Bill knew we were going to tank it. I mean, could you imagine making something this beautiful and knowing that he was going to give it up to us and let us have it? He was going to die, but he was panicking, thinking about what was going to happen, those traditions, you know. And I'll tell you, I tell new guys all the time, when you first come up in here, you don't want to do any of this work. But when you realize you got a fatal illness, then all of a sudden those steps start looking real good. And you stop complaining about doing a fourth. You think, thank God I can do a fourth and get myself some relief and get the hell out of this. And then the longer you stay sober, the more you start looking at those traditions and saying, thank God for these. Then none of us are in charge around here, you know, and it's beautiful. But anyway, so I don't even remember where I was. It got me lost, but that's all right. I don't even know where I am right now either. So anyway, so he's out in front, and I walk out. And, this is what I'm complaining about. I knew there was a complaint somewhere, and I just remembered it. So my complaint is we're too quick to get the new people to say they're alcoholics, and we push them into it. And we got people in here that say they're an alcoholic, and they don't even know what they're claiming, and we shove them into it. And have you ever been to a meeting where they go around the room and introduce themselves before the meeting starts, and guys there on a court card? I'm Bob alcoholic, I'm Jim alcoholic, I'm June alcoholic, I'm Frank, I'm here on a court card. Woo! The whole room goes crazy. Starts shaking like a bunch of monkeys let out of a cage. We got one, we got one, we got one. Right, the whole room just starts, all of a sudden, a whole different energy's coming up in there. And then when the meeting starts, the whole meeting is dedicated to Frank and his denial. I remember when I, too, came in on a court card, Frank. The poor guy's not even alcoholic. He was at the golf course. He shot a bad round. He had a couple of cocktails, pulled out into traffic and got popped. And they sent him here as part to lessen the sentence. They sent him down here. But he's not an alcoholic. He was just drinking too much. Let me tell you something. The next time he's in that room and it goes around the room, I'm Bud alcoholic, I'm June alcoholic, I'm John alcoholic, I'm Frank. I'm also an alcoholic. Now, does he think he's any more of an alcoholic than he was before? No. No. He just wants you to leave him alone. Leave me alone, sign my court card, let me go. That's all he wants. If you start looking about alcoholism and about it, and if you're new and you're sitting here, I know it's a little different because we're in a convention, but if you're brand new and you're in a room of Alcoholics Anonymous, and you're saying you're an alcoholic, and you're with us, and you're saying you're an alcoholic, and you take a look in the book, they talk about alcoholism being a fatal illness. Fatal. Fatal means it's going to kill you. Stop worrying about the mole on your back. It's the booze. And not only is it a fatal illness, but it's a fatal illness according to our literature, and you're sitting in an AA meeting saying you're one of us. According to our literature, it's a fatal illness that only a spiritual experience can arrest. Do you know how frightening that is? I just had some heart trouble and had to go to the doctor a month ago, and I was scared, man. I was in emergency, and I was afraid. You know, I didn't know what was going to happen to me. You know, my dad died of a heart attack at 56, and I ended up in emergency, and I was scared. My heart's all over the place. But let me tell you something. Could you imagine walking into a doctor's office and taking your tests, doing whatever you're doing, you roll back in 3 days later and say, hey, how'd it go, man? And he goes, no, fatal. What? Fatal. What do you mean fatal? Yes, you don't even need to pay your bill. Fatal. I mean fatal. Yes, fatal, you're done. And I don't really believe in God, but I favor prayer in cases such as yours. Could you imagine that? Do you know there's a story, not to pick up this again. Anyway, there's a story in here, and it's up in the front. I'm not talking about some scary story in the back. I'm saying up front. And the doctor says, hey, I don't even like treating people like you. And though not a religious man, I favor prayer. Could you imagine? I couldn't imagine, man, when my heart was all over the place, walking into emergency and having the doctor go, God, I don't treat guys like you, and you should probably start praying. It's like, what? You know, I can't imagine it. But yet, in our rooms, we get hundreds of people every day coming in, saying they got a fatal illness, saying only a spiritual experience can arrest, and they don't do anything about it. You don't see them picking up the book. You don't see them getting commitments, grabbing a sponsor, asking questions. You don't see them doing any of that. You see them sticking their hand up because they got something they want to say, but they don't want any information how to get out of it because they don't understand what they have. It's like Gilligan's Island. You ever remember that show? They were all newcomers. Get somebody with time into the island to tell you how to get the hell off, guys. You know what I mean? Quit sitting around the hut telling each other how you failed every day. Get somebody who's clean and get somebody sober. Maybe the show would have ended way sooner. But anyway, so you get these guys and they say they got a fatal illness, but they don't really believe it. And you see it all the time. One of my friends just died the other day. He didn't believe it. He didn't believe he had a fatal illness. Jack, you take this too seriously. Well, I'm still here. I didn't put a hose in my car. You know what I mean? Kill myself. I'm still here. I understand what the deal is here. I understand what's going on. But back then I didn't. So I tell this guy, I'll go to the meeting with you. Sure, I'll go. So just, you got to swing with me. When I swing, you swing. So anyway, so we're back in front of my mom's house. I just lied to my buddy, said I'm in. And I turned around, and I had a weird thing happen after I turned around from this guy. So I tell him I'll go to the meeting. I go walking back into my mom's house. I don't really have any thoughts of being an alcoholic. Big deal. So what I do? You know, so what I black out? So what I do this? Well, it doesn't mean anything. And I'm walking back to my mom's house, and I thought, how often have you been drinking lately? I thought, God, I've been drinking every day. I've been drinking every day for as long as I can remember. I've been drinking, smoking weed, taking pills, whiffing a little cocaine, whiffing Pam every day. for as long as I could remember. And I woke up just a little bit. Just a little bit. And thank God it was only just a little bit. I can't imagine what it would be like to wake up completely your first day in Alcoholics Anonymous. Do you know how frightening that would be? Like, yeah, at the break we got cookie, coffee, and rope for the new man. You can hang yourself now or go one more day, whatever you want to do here, champ. Because waking up's frightening. It's frightening. And you know what? I see guys around here sober for years and they're still not awake. They still don't realize what's going on. Have you ever heard the statement, I paid for my seat here? Have you ever thought of that? You ever listened to it and realized what an alky thing it is to say that? I paid for my seat here. Oh yeah? Let's call your wife. Let's see what she paid. Let's call your kids, your husband, your parents, anyone that ever cared and loved you, and let's ask them what they paid for your seat in Alcoholics Anonymous. Guaranteed they paid dearly. There was a great letter that Bill Wilson wrote, and he said, we're so quick to talk about what ass kickers we all are, but we're not as quick to talk about the damage we do to our families. Not as big thing to come in. It's great to walk in and say how many years you did in prison. Not as good to come in and say you're stealing money out of your mom's purse. Doesn't sound as good. Not as tough out on the yard. Anyway, so I woke up enough and I saw the drinking. I said, okay, so I'll go to the meeting. My mother found out I was going. She said, are you going to that A&A, sweetheart? I go, yes, I am, Mother. She goes, you want a couple dollars for coffee? I go, I need 40. They got dues down there, Mom. And who am I to stop her from being useful? So anyway, so I got money from my mother in my pocket. I've got 220s. I'm rolling all right. And it's a night meeting that I went into. Let me tell you how I rolled in. I got a pair of ragged shorts on. Ragged shorts. I got a work shirt, like a Dickies work shirt that's got cigarette burn holes all over the top of it. Because I'd be smoking when I'm drinking, and then I got something I got to say to you. So I put my smoke down for a second. Somebody would come up and go, dude, you're on fire, man. No, you're on fire, asshole. Just hammer. So all my shirts had burn holes in them, just whatever. I did have nice shoes on. A buddy of mine invited me to his wedding, and I kept the shoes. So I had these shiny patent leather pump kind of things on with my shorts and my shirt with the burn holes. And also at the time, my hair was down to my elbows, full of knots, and there was a Jolly Rancher in the back of it. But as of yet, I did not know the rancher was back there. He was back there for a couple of weeks. I guess I had passed out drunk, and then it just slid around my face into the back. And then when I got up in the morning, I went, I'm good to go, and just stumbled out. So that's how I roll into this meeting, right? But I got money from my mother, so I'm all right. And I roll into this meeting. I remember walking in. I walk into my first meeting, right? Now, job, everything's destroyed. Whatever career I had was destroyed. It was no career. But my money from my mother, living with my mom, warrants after my arrest, pregnant girl, this girl, people trying to kill me. I remember walking in my very first meeting. Yep, loser. Yep, scumbag. Yep, know that dude from school. Yep, I'm not like you. And let me tell you why I'm not like you. Because I'm a smooth drunk. I'm a Cary Grant drunk, is what I am. I start drinking, and the first place it hits me is right here on the cheeks, and they start getting tingly, a little tingly numb, and I start smiling. A couple more drinks in me, and I start smiling even bigger. A couple more drinks in me, and all of a sudden, I want to wrestle you. Anyway, and you want to know what I heard in my first meeting? I heard pride. Do you know that Alcoholics Anonymous is the only place besides prison where people try to be the worst? Are you aware of that? You ever listen in these meetings? I mean, really listen to what they're saying? Unbelievable. You get guys in here wearing the word homeless like a badge. I was homeless. You get guys in here wearing the word convict like a badge. I've been arrested 187 times, dog. Yeah, go for 188, champ. Unbelievable. You get these meetings, you get some old guy stand up in the meeting. He goes, I used to get up 6:55 a.m. Before 7 a.m., I've drank 5/5 of booze and defecated in my pants. And then you get some other idiot stand up and go, is that all? I used to get up at 6:55 a.m., drink 5/5 of booze, defecate in my pants, and then comb it up through my hair. It's like, what the hell? It's like, what are you talking about, man? And it's crazy. And you'll hear this stuff, and it's pride. It's pride in the damage we did to people. And the sad thing is, do you know why most of those guys talk that? Because they can't talk steps. They can't talk steps. They can't talk recovery. That's bar talk. It's bar talk, sitting up there like that. You walk in any bar and hear those same stories. It's not recovery talk. It's not talk about doing a 4-step, doing a 5th step. Urging people when they come in the meetings, you want to say something? Tell us about something you did to stay sober. Tell us a commitment you had. You're angry at your sponsor? Tell us why you're angry at it. Give us some of that, because I know how to drink. I'm a great animal. You can't teach me how to be an animal. I'm a wonderful animal. My name's good all over the state as being an animal. You look me up on the internet, it says animal. A couple 100,000 pages of it. I don't know how to be sober. Teach me how to be sober. And I hear these guys taking pride in this stuff, and the sad thing is, do you know what? It hurts us. It hurts us bad. It hurts AA. For the guys that have been arrested a whole bunch of times, we need you in here. We need you. But not why you, and I'm not looking at anybody in the front row. We need you in here. But not why you think we need you. We need you so when the next guy comes in that's been arrested all those times, he walks through the door and says, I've been arrested 187 times. You walk up and say, me too. And you tell your story. And you tell them how you got out of it. You know who else we need in here? We need the person that hasn't been arrested one time. Not one arrest. So when that person comes to the door and says, but I've never been arrested, you walk up and say, neither have I. And you share your story. One's useful to God and our fellows. One does nothing but serve our pride. There's a big difference. Like I said, I'm a big fan of this big book. I love this big book, and I'm a huge fan of this big book. Every Monday night from 6 to 6:45, I take people into my home, and I run that book up their asses one line at a time, sometimes one word at a time. There'll be people that come to my house every Monday, and they don't come back for 2 months, and they come back, we've only moved a paragraph down, right? So I'm up that book, right? But let me tell you something. Have you ever pinched that once? And you always hear these guys going, the 164, the 164. Have you ever pinched the 164 together and saw how small it was? And have you ever gone to the back of the book and pinched that together and saw how big the back was? You ever wonder why the back's bigger than the front? Because Bill Wilson in a letter said the heart of AA lay in our stories. That was the heart of AA. And if you didn't think you're one of us and you couldn't identify, then the rest of the book was worthless. The start of the book was worthless. And the other thing that they wanted that was so important to them is the individuality that was so important to them, that we are all different. And we all take different pathways to God. And that's why it's so important. Alcoholics Anonymous, they applaud our individuality. They want us to be individuals. They want us to have our own experience. Because what that does is we get millions of different experiences. And with millions of different experiences, we can help millions of more people. Could you imagine if we only had one experience in here? One God, one experience. We could help hardly anyone. Anyway. So I listen to all that crap in the room, and I judge myself non-alcoholic. I'm not like you guys. And I walk out of there, and I'm going to stop on my own. And I did stop on my own, because I thought, okay, maybe I am drinking a little too much. And I did stop on my own. I stopped a whole bunch of times on my own. I was always stopping and starting, stopping and starting. In, out, in, out, in, out. One of these times I stopped, it was October of 1988. I got 30 days. 30 solid days. No meetings, no God, no nothing, 30 solid days. And on my 30th day, I got a job as a bartender because I thought that would be a good job. And it is a good job. If you have thoroughly worked the first step and you understand your relationship with God and with alcohol, being a bartender is a wonderful job. If you have not worked the first step, being a bartender is a bad job. Do you know you'll get a lot of people in here that blame alcoholism on all sorts of stuff? They'll say, oh, you got in a relationship, so you got drunk. A bad relationship, you got drunk. AA's loaded with bad relationships. Loaded. And we're not all drunk. Oh, you made a bad work plan. You got drunk. You thought too bad. No, man. You got drunk because you forgot. You forgot what was going on with the alcoholism. You forgot. You thought you could take a drink with impunity. That's why you got drunk. Not because you made a bad decision, not because you had a bad relationship. AA's loaded with it. And the longer you stay sober, you will see people go through stuff that is unbelievable in here. You see people go through cancer, death of close loved ones, go through all this stuff with this power and the strength that Bill was talking about in his story. You'll see them go through this. But they've worked a first step, and they know that alcohol is not going to be a solution to any ill they have. Anyway, so I get this job as a bartender. And on my way to work, I stop by a friend's house to pick up some mushrooms for another friend. I was being of service at the time. Talking to my man goes, how's it going, Jack? I go, Lester, it's going good, man. I am solid. I got everything. I got 30 days. Baby's good. They're gone. They moved. Underage girl's gone. Everything's good. Mom's doing good. I got 30 days. Everything's solid. Is that your bong? Bam. Cunning, baffling, and powerful. Alcohol disguised itself as a skunk bud, and it hid in this dude's bong. Anyway, so I reach out and I take a bong hit. And I come to with a bong in my mouth, and I love that, because the old guys always go, is he talking about drugs? No, sir, I'm not. Anyway, so I reach out and I take a bong hit, and I come to with the bong in my mouth, and I think, oh my God, I just took a bong hit. Here I'm telling this guy I'm sober, I'm sober, I'm sober. I'm stoned. Bam, that fast. Do you know that the big book talks about that? It doesn't say the word bong. You will not find the word bong in the big book. But what it does say that's even more frightening is strange mental blank spots while sober. Sober blackouts, not drunken blackouts. Sometimes I get, and it's always with the new guys, when they come in here, they think they got to tell these crazy stories to be part of the deal here. They get crazy or whatever with all this. And I always get these guys want to tell me how insane they were. They go, Jack, I was so insane. I was so insane. I was creeping and peeping and going down alleys with my pants down, and I hadn't slept in 6 months. I was insane. Dude, you're not insane. You're on drugs, man. That's what people on drugs do, guy. I mean, God rest, give Mother Teresa speed for 2 weeks. She'd start building bikes. It's got nothing to do with it. You know what I'm saying? Nothing to do with it. I go, as a matter of fact, you can't even tell you're insane until you're sober. Have you ever worked a 12-step call? I mean, a real 12-step call. I'm not talking about get your drunk friend and drop him off a detox. I'm talking a real 12-step call, where you go pick the guy up and you got booze in the car and you're feeding him a little booze or some orange juice to stop the shakes. You got him, like the thing I read, you got him at the house, you're dealing. Well, sometimes you got to take these guys to the hospital. And when they're all hammered and you roll into the hospital, the doctor doesn't come out and look at him and go, whoa, histrionic, bipolar, looks like he might be a little manic. And he doesn't do any of that. He says, strap that drunk's ass to a gurney. And when he sobers up, we'll diagnose. When he sobers up, you can't even find out you're insane until you're sober. And if you're struggling with the word insanity, switch it with delusional. I'm not fat. These pants are tight. Delusional. I'm fat as hell right now. These pants are not tight. They fit me when I bought them. But that's how guys are with drinking. I'm not an alcoholic. Those cops are pricks. I'm not an alcoholic. My wife won't get off my back. I'm not an alcoholic. I didn't have enough to eat that day. Whatever it is, delusional. Delusional. Anyway, I take that bong hit and I think, well, now what? I'm not going back to AA on one bong hit. Or maybe, yeah, I took a bong hit, I surrender, I'll be GSR. whatever you guys want. That ain't gonna happen here, right? I'm cigarette butt guy, that's what I am. I have been the cigarette butt guy for one meeting for 24 years. I'm still picking up the butts. And if you're brand new, that's the best job in AA, because no one wants it. And nobody will tell you what to do. If you're a coffee maker, they always complain. You know what I mean? Treasurer, they're always asking questions. Secretary, they're always hassling you. Pick up cigarette butts, man. They have left me alone for 24 years out there. I think they forgot I got the commitment. Anyway, so okay, great. I think I'm not going back to AA. I'm not going back to AA on one bong hit. And I got 30 days. Anybody that can get 30 days doesn't have a problem. And I'm starting to get a little dry from the weed. So I need a little drinky poo to wash this down. Well, now I'm drinking and smoking weed. So these mushrooms are surely not going to get delivered. I go to work and I'm fired. Fired. Half an hour, I'm fired. First day on the job, I'm fired within a half an hour. And that's not even a record around here. Anyway, so fired half an hour, first day on the job. I'm out on the street, I'm staggering around. I'm drunk now, and one of you guys sees me. And he comes up to help me. One of you AA guys sees me, and he says, Jack, can I help you? I go, yeah, can you take me to my mom's house? I'm losing it. He goes, sure. And he takes me to my mom's house. When he drops me off, he says, we'll talk tomorrow. Because I'm 5 grams into a very bad night by that time. And I go, great. Now I know what we'll talk tomorrow means. We'll talk tomorrow is code word for lecture. It means you're too drunk to argue with, my friend. So go to bed. I'll call and yell at you tomorrow. I mean, you can't deal with wet drunks. You know that, right? They didn't want us talking programmed to wet drunks. They want us to let them have a lucid interval and then talk to them. But when they're drunk, give up, man. You know what I mean? Just have some fun with them while they're drunk, you know? Because you ever see 2 drunk guys trying to help each other? You know what I mean? And then they always get in a fight, you know, and stuff. Whatever. It's like when they're drunk, just say, well, yeah, burble. Whatever you want to say, buddy. I'm in, you know. But then when they sober up, then you lay the program on them, right? So the next day, me and this guy are talking, and we're talking nice on the phone, right? And I'm waiting for my lecture, and it ain't coming. He's not even mentioning me being drunk. I go, bro, hey, man. I was pretty hammered last night, huh? And he goes, yep. I go, hey, woo. I go, last night, huh, brah? He goes, yep. What I was waiting for is, Jack, you're a loser. Jack, you're a scumbag. Jack, you're an animal. Jack, you're trash. I have heard it my whole life. I had a boss tell me one time, he said, son, you belong in the jungle or in jail. I have heard it my whole life. Loser, scumbag, animal, trash. And I'm waiting to hear it from this guy, because he's an AA guy who doesn't do any mushrooms up in there either guy, who saw me coming around these meetings, coming in late, getting a date, leaving early, disrespecting his steps, disrespecting his traditions, taking a dump on the whole program. He saw me coming in, out. I'm waiting to get yelled at, and it ain't coming. He says, hey, man. I go, dude, I blew 30 days. I got drunk. He goes, Jack, I know. He goes, you know what? You're probably an alcoholic. And if you're an alcoholic, you can't stop drinking. And if you do stop, you can't stay stopped for any length of time on your own power. That was the first time in my life I ever heard that. And I wish he was still here, but he is not. 2 weeks after that, he relapsed and died in the car. That man's name was Don Langston, and I owe a big part of my sobriety to that man. And when I turned 15, I laid my chip at his grave, and I looked down at his headstone, and I never realized it before, but he was only 21 years old when he died. I got sober on January 8th of 1989. Why? I don't know why. It was one more try. I'm going to go to the meetings. It's a Sunday, so I'll start again. You know, one more try. And I got sober, and I stayed sober. And I was sober for a year and a half. Hanging around in here for a year and a half, sober. But every time I said I was an alcoholic, there was a little something in my mind that said, no, you're not. No, you're not. No, you're not. No, you're not. A little something that said, no, you're not. You're not like these people. And at a year and a half sobriety, I'm sitting in a meeting, and all of a sudden I realized I was going to drink again, and you couldn't help me. No 90 meetings in 90 days, no hero sponsor, no somebody tying their hands around my waist. Nothing was going to help me. I knew that I was going to walk in these rooms one day and say, these people are full of crap and I don't need it, and I'm out of here. Because I have done it a million times. And when I saw that, I woke up. I woke up at a year and a half sobriety, and that's when I did my first step truly into my heart. It's one thing to write stuff down, and yeah, I'm glad you're writing it down, but it's a whole nother thing to have it come in your heart. My friend Joe Millard that got sober in 1964, he always quotes that phrase. He says, pity the mind that's slow to learn, pity the heart that's slow to learn what the quick mind sees at every turn. When we really start waking up and realize that we have that fatal illness, and that's when it hit me, and that's when I launched into this program. And I'm going to end with this. I'm going to tell you how I found God real quick, because that's what the book's about. It's about connecting with that power is what it is. It's not about not drinking. We're already supposed to be not drinking. It's all about, I hear somebody say, I'm working on relapse prevention. I go, well, then that means you're working the steps, right? I don't get it. What do you mean? I don't understand what you're saying. You're either doing the steps. The whole book's about relapse prevention, to not go back and ever take a drink again. That's what the book's about, to connect with the power. That's what the book's about. Anyway, I struggled with this God thing for a long time and questioning it and always looking and always searching. I talking to people, blah, 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 but I don't understand it and I don't get it, you know. And I hear you guys talking about love and talking about all this stuff, but yeah, I understand love, but I don't really understand love. And here you're talking about forgiveness, but I don't really understand forgiveness, but yeah, I guess, whatever, yeah. Anyway, I've got this little girl, that older daughter I had, and anyway, she was, at the time, she was 10 and I was 9. She had a year more than me. She does not have a year more than me now. She is a drunken sailor. But other than that, at the time, she had a year more than me. And she was going to switch schools. Her mom was going to pull her out of one school and take her to another school. And my daughter was going to have to switch schools in the middle of the school year. So I went to her mother and I said, could Anna please come and live with me so she doesn't have to switch schools? Now, this was a woman I lied to, cheated on, got in fist fights with, while she was pregnant, fighting each other, crawling into bed, stinking of other women, reeking of perfume, going to the hospital to hide out because guys were trying to kill me when my kid was born. This is a woman that has every right to hate me for the rest of her life. But because of you guys in this program, she does not. And she said, yeah, you can have Anna and come live with you. So my daughter came to live with me, and when she lived with me, we did homework together. I volunteered at school. I did all this stuff, you know. And there's a film out. If you ever see The Other F Word, it's a film. It's got my daughter in the film, and she talks about what it was like having me as a dad. But anyway, so I did all this stuff. Well, one day I went out to see what the kids are doing. And like I said, she was 10, I was 9, and we have a garage outside the house, and I wanted to see what the kids are doing. So I walk out to the garage because they're playing out there, and I go to turn the door, and it's locked. And I go, hey, it's Dad, open up. And I hear, he's outside. He's outside. I go, whoa, whoa. I go, open up, sweetheart, it's Dad. Just a minute. He's outside. Put that stuff under the couch. Hide that stuff right there. Get that stuff and put it on the couch. I go, whoa, whoa, whoa. I go, let's go. Let's go. Open up. It's Daddy. Open up. Just a minute. Just a minute. I'm getting turned out by 10-year-olds, right? Then I start pounding on the door. I'm feared in 50 states. Open the door. Just screaming, right? Going, you know when you get wound, right? So I'm going, just a minute. Just gonna have to, just wait 1 minute, right? So I'm pounding, going nuts. The veins are starting to pop out of my neck, right? I'm going crazy. Pounding on the door. Finally, they open the door up, and the smell of smoke and cheap perfume comes out of there. I go, they're smoking. And I'm just full of rage, full of anger, full of all this hate. I came from an abusive family. Laying hands on people has always been my solution. Full of this rage, full of this hate. Coming in there, looking through that smoke-filled room, and all of a sudden I see that little girl's face looking back at me. And she is terrified, terrified. And I see the look in her face, and it sickens me. And I think, oh my God. Please don't let me hurt this little girl. Please don't let me hurt this little girl. And I went directly to God. Like it says in the big book of Alcoholics Anonymous, we go to God. That's who we go to. Whatever your interpretation, whatever you think God is, that's where we go. I didn't have a chance to run it through a sponsor and a committee. You know what I mean? I can't say, hold this moment for a second. I got to go make a phone call, sweetheart. I'll be right back to solve this. No, man. I'm getting shot at. I got to shoot back. I got to know what to do. I went directly to God. I said, please help me. I don't want to hurt this little girl, please. And God said, you got it, champ. And he stepped in, whatever it was, stepped in and took away all the hate, all the anger, all the rage for that 1 second. And I looked at that little girl and I said, sweetheart, I go, I love you. I love you. Let me tell you what happened to me when I started rolling smokes. And I talked to her like one alcoholic talking to another alcoholic. I talked to her with love, with kindness, with sympathy, with empathy, and then I said, now clean this mess up and get your ass inside. When I walked out of that garage, I thought, what just happened in there? What was that? I didn't walk in there and say, hey, I caught you rolling smokes, you're getting beat down. I caught you rolling smokes, you're going to hell for eternity. I caught you rolling smokes, I'm giving you cancer, AIDS, Hep C. I said none of that. I said, I caught you rolling smokes, and I love you. I love you. And then I thought to myself how much I love her, and I thought, you know what? If my daughter ever said, I need you, Dad, no matter what, I'd put my hands down and say, come here. and I would just hold her and take her into my arms. And I thought, if I'm a human being and I love that little girl with the capacity to love that I have, and I love her that much, how much does God love me? And all of a sudden a warmth came over me. It was like a couple of Valiums on a Christmas Eve. It was just, a warmth came over me, and all of a sudden I knew that I was forgiven, because I knew what it was to forgive, and I knew what it was to love. And that's what they talk about. Sometimes you hear in these rooms, they say, you got to forgive yourself first. How can you forgive yourself if you don't know what forgiveness is? You can't forgive yourself. They talk that we learn how to forgive other people. We go through these steps. We learn how to love. We learn how to be unconditional. We learn how to be forgiving. And when we learn to do that for other people, then we realize it can be done for us. You'll hear people say, let us love you until you can love yourself. No, let us love you until you can love others. And then you start learning what true love is. And at that time, I abandoned myself to God. The word surrender does not appear in the first of our book, but the word abandon does. And it's taken from the French, and it means to derelict. It means set it down, turn your back, walk away. Abandon self. Set self-interest down, turn your back, walk away. And I've been doing that ever since. I have a wonderful life, and I want to thank you guys for having me.
I think we got a great talk going on here. Thanks for watching the channel. Taper Dave here. Just curious, do you think this is better than Zoom? Okay, this is how I prepare my drone for launching. I like to do it inside the cab of my truck so I'm not standing outside in the weather. To install the joysticks for control, up and down, right and left, powered on. I have an Android phone that I use to connect it to the drone with. And it's actually controlled through the iPhone, through an app. Oops, wrong way. It's actually controlled through the iPhone, or through this Android phone, through the app. It's actually controlled through the Android phone, through an app, and you connect it through this short connection right here.
Remote control connected.
Remote control is connected. So I pull out the drone. I have to extend the legs. Long legs extended first, then the short legs. Remove the gimbal protector. Set that aside, then power it on one short burst, then one long burst. I lay it down. So I have to go to calibrate. So the drone's not connected yet. It shows you here as this drone gets disconnected, even though the remote's powered on. So the drone has to establish it's connected. So I go into the app to calibration mode. First I'll calibrate the remote controller. Start calibration. Out, in, out, in, up, down, and then this little wheel is to control the gimbal. So it's calibrated. Go to gimbal calibration, start calibration, and then it calibrates the gimbal. I don't know if that shows up. The gimbal's moving all over the place. Changes, you can see it on the video. And I'm calibrated to take off. It's acquired 7 satellites at the moment. There are 26 satellites up in the sky, which it has to acquire before you can take off. So it's connected. It's got enough satellites. This is white. I can go to press this little arrow button, swipe right to take off, and it would start the motors if I slid this to the right. But I'll wait till I get outside. Don't want to do it inside.